You open your eyes for the first time. It's hot, sticky. The air smells like salt, sweat, and something vaguely like a brewery on fire. That's rum. You'll get used to it. The year is 1716. The place is a grimy, sand-floored shack in Nassau, on the island of New Providence in the Bahamas. This isn't a quaint Caribbean resort. This is the heart of the golden age of piracy. Your birth announcement isn't a card sent to relatives. It's the fact that you didn't immediately die of fever. Congratulations, you've cleared the first hurdle. Most don't. Your mother is an ex-barmaid with a mysterious past and a sharp tongue. Your father? Ah, well, he's one of several hundred sailors, merchants, or buccaneers who passed through last year. Let's just say your family tree doesn't have branches. It has a fleet. Your toddler years are a masterclass in survival. Your playground isn't a park with swings. It's the beach, littered with discarded cannons and splintered shipmasts. You learn to walk on scorching sand and rickety wooden docks held together by hope and rope. While other kids learn nursery rhymes, you learn to identify the flags of Spanish galleons versus English frigates. It's a very practical education. You look around and realize there's no Wi-Fi, no iPads, no kindergarten. Your entertainment is watching huge ships get dragged onto the beach and tilted on their sides. This, you learn, is called careening. Men scrape the hull, removing barnacles and shipworms that slow the vessel down. The smell of burning pitch they use to reseal the wood is the official perfume of your childhood. By age 5, you're a feral little creature with a sun-bleached mop of hair. You're also surprisingly worldly. Nassau is the infamous Republic of Pirates, a rogue state run by the most notorious sea dogs on the planet from about 1706 to 1718. Your neighborhood is the most diverse place on Earth. You see grizzled English sailors arguing with French duelists, and freed African slaves sharing a drink with Dutch carpenters. On a pirate ship, skill matters more than skin color, creating some of the most integrated communities of the 18th century. Food is an adventure. Your teething ring was a piece of hardtack, a rock-hard biscuit so indestructible sailors used them as dinner plates. You learn that if you soak it in water, the weevils float to the top. Protein. You steal mangoes from the governor's abandoned garden and learn to fish with a piece of string and a bent nail. You see men with bleeding gums and strange bruises, and hear whispers about scurvy. Nobody knows it's a vitamin C deficiency yet, but you notice the guys who trade for limes and lemons seem to fare better. Your education comes from the tavern. Not inside, you're too small, but by listening through the walls. You hear stories of mountains of gold, sea monsters, and the Royal Navy. You learn that the Navy is the real boogeyman. They practice impressment, a fancy word for kidnapping. Navy gangs roam port cities, grabbing able-bodied men and forcing them into years of brutal, low-paying service. For many, piracy isn't a choice. It's a rebellion against a system that wants to own you. One afternoon, the whole port goes quiet. A ship has sailed into the harbor, black flags snapping in the wind. A giant of a man with a wild, dark beard stomps onto the docks. He has slow-burning fuses woven into his hair and beard. Smoke curling around his face like a demon from hell. It's him. Edward Teach, the man they call Blackbeard. He's not here for a fight. He's here to party. You stare, mesmerized. This isn't a villain. This is a celebrity, a rock star with a cutlass. In a world of grim survival, he looks like he's having the time of his life. By 10, you know the hierarchy. You've seen a court held on a ship's deck. A sailor accused of stealing was judged by the entire crew. This is the pirate code, or the Articles of Agreement. Before a voyage, every man signs it. It dictates the rules, the punishments, and exactly how the loot will be divided. The quartermaster gets a share and a half, the captain gets 2 shares, and a man who loses a limb in battle gets a hefty bonus from the public chest. It's the most democratic system you've ever seen. The captain is elected, and if the crew doesn't like his performance, they can vote him out. Good luck trying that with King George. At 12, it gets real. A boy you know, a lanky kid named Thomas, is snatched from the docks, a press gang. You see his mother screaming as they drag him onto a boat flying the Union Jack. You never see him again. The lesson is crystal clear. The civilized world will enslave you for pennies a day. The pirates offer you a vote and a share of gold. The career path is starting to look pretty obvious. You're 13 now. You're skinny but tough, and you know every secret path and rat-infested alley in Nassau. Your life is a dead end of mending sails and cleaning fish guts for a few coins. You smell like bait. You stare out at the turquoise water, at the ship's promising freedom and fortune. One sweltering afternoon, a first mate with a jagged scar across his eye and a parrot on his shoulder approaches you. His captain is stocking a new sloop, getting ready to hunt Spanish silver fleets off the coast of Florida. They need a boy. "Ever wanted to see the world, kid?" he grunts, gesturing to the ship. "We need a powder monkey. Run in powder to the cannons mid-fight. It's dangerous work. But a full share of the prize awaits if you've got the sand for it." He's looking right at you. The smell of fish guts on your hands versus the smell of gunpowder and open sea. A life of scraping by, or a short, glorious life of adventure. He smirks, seeing the conflict in your eyes. "Well, boy? Are you a rat on the docks, or a wolf on the waves?" "Wolf," you say, your voice cracking slightly. It's the stupidest, bravest, and only decision you could possibly make. You spit on your hands, shake on it, and don't look back. You're a pirate now, sort of. Life at sea is not the adventure you imagined. It's mostly chores and smells. The ship, the Sea Serpent, is a floating wooden prison cell crammed with 80 unwashed men and a billion cockroaches. Your job as powder monkey is simple and suicidal. During a battle, you sprint from the gunpowder storage in the ship's belly to the cannons on deck, carrying cartridges of black powder. You're small and fast, which means you're a harder target. It also means you're a tiny, flammable messenger boy running through a firestorm. Your first battle is against a Spanish merchant vessel. The moment the black flag, the Jolly Roger, is raised, chaos erupts. The goal isn't to sink the other ship. A sunken ship has no loot. Your captain orders the gunners to use chain shot, which is 2 cannonballs linked by a chain, to shred the enemy's sails and rigging, crippling them. The noise is deafening. Splinters the size of daggers fly everywhere. You run, slipping on blood and seawater, your heart trying to beat its way out of your chest, delivering powder to men with hellfire in their eyes. The Spanish ship surrenders in under an hour. Terror, you realize, is the sharpest weapon in a pirate's arsenal. The treasure isn't a chest of gold doubloons. It's 50 barrels of flour, 20 bolts of English wool, and a crate of medical supplies. Hugely valuable, but not exactly blockbuster movie material. The loot is brought on deck and divided according to the ship's articles. As a lowly powder monkey, you get a half share. It's still more money than you've ever seen in your life. You also witness your first bit of pirate healthcare. A man's leg is shattered by a cannonball. The ship's carpenter, who doubles as the surgeon, gives him a bottle of rum, bites down on a leather strap, and saws the leg off below the knee. He then seals the wound with hot tar. You vomit over the side of the ship. Years pass in a blur of rum, sun, and sudden violence. You get bigger, stronger. You learn to fight with a cutlass. It's less about fencing and more about hacking, and how to fire a flintlock pistol, which is wildly inaccurate and useful for exactly 1 shot before you use it as a club. By 18, you're a full-fledged crewman with a beard, a scar over your eye, and a full share of the vote. Then, in 1718, you sail back to Nassau to sell your latest haul of sugar and tobacco. But something is wrong. The harbour isn't a chaotic mess of pirate flags. It's orderly and filled with Royal Navy warships. On the shore, a new fort is being built. A well-dressed man stands on the docks, flanked by soldiers. This is Woodes Rogers, the new governor, a famous ex-privateer sent by the king to clean up the Caribbean. He's offering the king's pardon. Surrender your weapons, renounce piracy, and your long list of crimes will be wiped clean. Your crew is torn. Half the men, weary of the life, take the pardon. They want to settle down, to live past 30. But your captain, a hardliner named Calico Jack Rackham, refuses. He's a flashy dresser with a flair for the dramatic, but not the most successful pirate you've served under. You and the other diehards stay with him. Now you're not just pirates. You're fugitives from an empire. Life gets harder. Ports are closing to you. The noose is tightening. But there's a new energy on the ship. 2 of the best new recruits, Mark and Andy, are shockingly fierce fighters. Then, one day, during a drunken argument, a crewman draws a knife on Mark. In a flash, Mark has a pistol to his chest and his shirt rips open. Mark is a woman, her name is Anne Bonny, and her best friend Andy is another woman named Mary Read. They'd been disguised as men, and frankly, they're better pirates than most of the men. Calico Jack, who's in a relationship with Anne, just shrugs. The code says a good fighter is a good fighter. Nobody argues. Your final run is a disaster. In October 1720, your crew, including Jack, Anne and Mary, are celebrating a small prize off the coast of Jamaica by getting completely, utterly drunk. You're one of the few still sober enough to stand when the lookout screams. A pirate-hunting sloop, commanded by Captain Jonathan Barnett, has caught you by surprise. Most of the crew are too hammered to fight. It's you, Anne, and Mary against Barnett's men. You fight like cornered animals, but it's hopeless. The battle is over in minutes. You're clapped in irons. The trial in Port Royal is a joke. You're pirates. You were caught on a pirate ship. The verdict is guilty. The sentence is death. Calico Jack and the rest of the men are sentenced to be hanged. Anne and Mary plead their bellies, claiming to be pregnant, which was one of the few ways a woman could delay execution. You have no such luck. You stand on the gallows, the hempen jig awaiting you. You're 22 years old. You see the crowd, the sun on the water. You think about your life. Was it worth it? The freedom, the terror, the fleeting moments of glory. The rope tightens around your neck. You close your eyes. You smell the salt in the air one last time. The golden age of piracy was, in reality, incredibly short, lasting from the 1650s to the 1730s, with the most intense and famous period being just a single decade from 1716 to 1726. Most pirates didn't retire rich. They died young and violently. The average career of a pirate captain was about 2 years. For every Blackbeard who became a legend, 1,000 anonymous pirates like you ended up at the end of a rope, their stories swallowed by the sea. It was a brief, desperate, and bloody rebellion against a brutal world, and for a fleeting moment you were a part of it. So, would you do it again? Probably not. The Wi-Fi is much better in this century.